Welcome, mortals, to Immortal Issues, where we talk about gods, monsters, myths, and more from around the world. My name's Alec. That's Charlie. Charlie, give the audience a hee-hoo.
Absolutely not.
All right, thank you very much. And first, we'd like to offer a sincere apology for missing last week's upload. Life events on both our sides just did not want us to record, and personally, I blame Zeus. Feel like he had a hand in this. That being said, I, as usual, have no idea what we're talking about today. So, Charlie.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been ready. I've been ready for weeks, months,
Okay.
years.
All right. Calm down. Calm down.
Been here.
Okay. So here's what I was thinking. Right. So I listened to last episode we did, and technically 2 episodes ago, and I was thinking, man, the quote thing is kind of cool, but like we're a mythology podcast. I think we can do better. Would you
Okay.
agree?
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree.
So I thought that instead of giving you a quote this time to try and guess, I thought it'd be cool if I read you a myth and then you tell me if you know which god it's about.
Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds cool.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thoughts?
That sounds pretty cool. I
All
can
right.
work with this. This I can rock.
Awesome.
Hopefully.
Okay, so I'm gonna read you this one, and I'm gonna try not to say the name because it's in it and ruin the whole thing.
I mean,
Okay?
I wouldn't mind a little slip, but if you can help it.
And I'm gonna read this verbatim, so it's so that's where it's gonna get a little tricky. But I'm gonna do my best.
Okay.
Okay?
Great. Yeah.
Okay. So the Olympian gods often cause disaster in their wake, and the love affair of Medusa and blank is evidence of this. Medusa, the Gorgon, with the deadly gaze, was not always a monster. Medusa was once a beautiful young woman with golden curls and a priestess at Athena's temple. In one version of the myth, she and blank fell in love, and their relationship was a secret. As a priestess of the virgin goddess Athena, Medusa was prohibited from sexual relationships. But alas, their relationship was eventually discovered. And Athena took her vengeance upon Medusa and cursed her with snakes for hair and a gaze that could turn onlookers to stone. She had become a Gorgon. Any idea?
Oh, okay. So blank obviously is the subject matter. Right.
Correct.
So, um, shoot. Okay. Well, I mean, you said Medusa, and I was like, oh, well, it's got to be Athena. I know that myth. A lot of people know that myth. Uh, but Medusa's lover.
Mm-hmm.
Those two words never really crossed my mind, I guess, in that sentence. But, um, hmm, hmm.
I will give you a hint
Okay. All right.
that is intentionally confusing.
That doesn't sound great, but okay.
It's Athena's dad.
Um, I Athena's dad?
Mm-hmm.
Who's Athena's? Wait, isn't it? No, it can't. Was it? No, it's not. Because we already talked about Zeus, so it couldn't be Zeus.
It is Zeus, but it is not the subject matter.
Uh, what?
just take your best guess. I can
Okay,
explain later.
great, fantastic. I think it's Thor.
Awesome. Wrong.
Damn it! How could I have gone so wrong?
It
I don't
is
understand.
my favorite Olympian god, Poseidon himself.
Ah, what?
King of the
Athena's
waves, god of the sea, earth shaker, and storm bringer. Poseidon.
okay. Okay, Athena's dad?
So we'll get to that. There. Remember how I in every one of these we talk about how there's different versions of every myth, right?
Yeah,
Well, in
yeah.
this version that I'm going to be pulling from, there is an alternate theory to how Athena was born, which makes
Okay,
Poseidon her dad.
okay.
So
Cool. Let's see. I'm already learning stuff. It's already
yeah,
happening.
so we'll get to it. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Poseidon. I'm very excited about this one. He is my favorite god, and it's not even close. The epic, the musical, only made me like him more because, in my opinion, he was the best singer in there. No offense, Jorge. Um, but yeah, so I'm super excited about this, and reading about him was super, super fun. So, are you ready?
Yep, yep, yep. I'm seated. I'm ready to
All
be
right, awesome.
washed away.
So, just because it gives me chills, I'm going to read it again His official title is God of the Sea, King of the Waves, Earth Shaker, and Storm Bringer.
Okay.
Doesn't it just give you the
Really, I mean, it invokes themes of Little Mermaid and Under the Sea, but
what? In what universe is that the first thing that comes to your mind?
That's Sebastian the Crab. You know, he
That's
goes under the sea. Yeah, you know,
okay. Okay.
it's basically the same thing.
I know this is a podcast and about conversation. You are banned from talking for the rest of this episode. I'm
All right,
going to read you the story and you shut up.
I will communicate in hymns.
That is what is
Not-
asked of you. I think everyone in the comment section is going to agree after that comment.
I don't think the local crabs will agree, but please do go on.
I live in Ohio, okay? There are no crabs near me. All right. So, moving on. So, we're going to start by talking about his focuses. So, obviously, he's the god of the sea. Now, they make it very clear that although he is the god of the sea, he is actually the god of all bodies of water. So, that is streams, lakes, cups of water, if you may. Wherever there is water, Poseidon can just kind of pop up and be like, "Ha, gotcha."
So the public pool, huh?
The public pool is your worst nightmare.
That is unfortunate.
Yes. Even worse if you're going to the bathroom.
Such poison resides in those waters.
Yes, correct. He is also the god of earthquakes, floods, drought, horses, seafarers, and storms.
Wasn't he also no, he was like the father of Cyclops. It's not the god of, I guess.
Yeah, he's not the god of Cyclopses, but he is kind of like, he's called the father of giants because all the Cyclopses are technically his children, but it's weird because they also existed before him. So like he's like, meaning, remember that there are Cyclopses who made Poseidon's weapon.
Yeah.
Right? And also the other two legendary weapons of the big three.
But he's
So-
like considered not the progenitor, but like the perpetuator of the
I guess.
species.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because in some myths he actually is the creator of the Cyclops. So I don't know
Okay.
if it's like I said, it's a little confusing, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Either way.
He is the progenitor of the Cyclops, correct? And giants in general, to be honest. So, his name comes from basically a couple different ways from different cultures. There are two theories basically on what his name means. Okay. So one theory, depending on how you read it and which Greek translation you read, it translates to husband. Okay. Another version translates it to earth, which if you kind of put them together and from what they've kind of decided, put together, it's basically lord or spouse of the earth, which would link him to Demeter, the Earth Mother, which is also his sister.
Okay. Okay.
But if you follow along that same like passage, it says this is impossible to prove.
Okay, great.
So that they basically don't know is where we're left with.
Right, we're looking at the mystery man himself. I got you.
Correct. So he has a couple different symbols. So his main two symbols are tridents and horses. That's like his things. Okay.
I mean, like horses, I get, but tridents, just
I know.
I could not.
Could not
never seen
believe
it
that
coming.
Poseidon would have the symbol of a trident
Could
in
never
this
have seen it
day and
coming.
age.
Doesn't he know that tridents were cannons?
Stop. He also, though, his symbols include bulls and dolphins. Those are his other sacred animals. So those also can represent him. Yep. But I'm assuming also like any sea creature could represent him. Like I don't think you're going to see a sea turtle and think like, oh, is that Zeus? But they're not his sacred animals. They're just animals that live in his domain.
We're just gonna move along and pretend that I know what a bowl is, not the cup.
A bull?
Oh,
A
a bowl.
bull.
Oh, a bowl. We're
Are you
saying bowl like
are
for
you still
soup.
taking the pain medicine for your
I,
teeth thing? Like, are you okay? First,
well, I've been.
first you bring up the Little Mermaid when I read you the most BA title that I've ever read ever, and then now you're talking I said
I've
sacred animals,
well, listen, all
not
right.
sacred pottery.
I've had a lot of soup recently due to the teeth, so it's been on my mind and in my mouth. What can I say?
Please comment below if you want Alec to stop talking in the next episode. Moving forward. So his parents are obviously Kronos and Rhea, so same as Zeus. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Um, his origin, as far as like the myth actually starting, comes from a couple different places. It's not as concrete as Zeus, because there were mentions of him, like the kind of worship for Poseidon started in multiple parts of Greece as like basically at the same time. So it's
Okay.
not like for Zeus it was just in Crete and then all of a sudden like they kind of spread it around Greece. Like they found mentions of Poseidon's image and name and things like that in multiple different cultures right around the same time. So from what I could tell, they're not sure which one was first.
Gotcha.
So it was the three main ones though were Crete, Boeotian. I'm gonna say Boeotian. That sounds right. And
Boish.
Arcadian. Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. His realm is the sea, but specifically, his main hangout spot, I guess where his palace is the Aegean Sea or Aegean Sea. And someone's gonna probably roast me for that, but I think it's Aegean Sea. It's
I need a.
basically the ocean in Greece.
Okay. I was gonna say I
Okay.
need a map because I have no idea what
It's
sea that is.
the Crete, the island of Crete, where Zeus and Poseidon were born.
Uh huh.
It's in the Aegean Sea.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's basically in Greece.
Listen. All right. Like I know some bodies of water, but I do not consider myself a seaman.
So his origin, back when he was a babby, was he was actually eaten by his father before he was later barfed up, and Zeus saved him by giving him his aunt's formula to make him throw him up. He then assisted Zeus in the war to overthrow the Kronos and the other Titans. Do you remember what that event was called?
Oh. Oh.
You
It.
can do it.
Um.
Alec, you've disappointed me so much already. Please don't let me down.
The tetanus war.
Why must you disappoint me so often?
I can't remember.
Titanomachy.
Ah, yes, of course.
Titanomachy? Whatever. I don't know. I'm going to say Titanomachy because I like saying it that way. But
Titanomachy
yes,
does sound better.
yes, he was assisted Zeus in the Titanomachy where he overthrew the Titans and his dad. Now, if you think Poseidon, you think first thing that comes to your mind, what is it right now? No thinking.
Horses.
That was not what I thought you were going to say. I think Trident, personally, I think that's one of the coolest things about Poseidon. So we're going to talk about it because it's really cool.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, but the last time when we did Zeus, we had the lightning bolt, really cool weapon, and I had like a couple sentences to say about it. I brought you a page.
Oh,
I brought you a
goodness.
whole page on this dude.
For a fish? Well, I guess it's a. Yeah, okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's really cool. Okay. So, a trident is a three-pronged spear, similar to what they were using back in Greece to like catch fish.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what it's modeled after.
Right.
But it's made of gold and brass. Okay. Now, do you remember who made the legendary weapons?
The Cyclops.
The Cyclops, yes, and the hundred-handed ones, yes.
Right.
They made it during the Titanomachy so that they would have an edge on the Titans during the Titanomachy. For those who don't remember from the Zeus episode. But these specific items, what I learned this time, could only be held by gods. So, monsters, no mortals, no titans, only held by gods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This weapon in particular, for Poseidon, gave him a couple things right off the bat. Okay, so he picks up the trident, and again, we're getting back into the debate of, just like we talked about with Zeus, of does the lightning bolt give him the power, or does he have the power inherently, and the lightning bolt is just kind of extra?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one, it seems to be more clear that the trident is the thing that gives him the powers. I don't really know how I feel about that, to be honest with you. I think Poseidon could probably make the ocean move without his trident, but who am I? I never met Poseidon.
I mean, like, we didn't write the myths, but hey, you can improve on them. I feel like it sounds cooler in my head of heads, that it sounds cooler that he's the one that makes the ocean move by himself, and the trident's just like a signal,
Well, it's up for debate. I agree with you. But I also kind of like that the trident is kind of the tool that does that gives him these powers. I don't know. I get stuck between the two. So
Okay.
regardless, in this version, the trident gives him these powers. Gives him control of the sea. He can cause earthquakes. He can summon storms. And he can summon other animals, including Kraken, with it.
Okay.
Okay.
The big squid. I got you.
So the trident itself symbolizes Poseidon's dominion over creation and destruction in his domain specifically. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Poseidon is obviously the god of the sea, but the trident itself is dual-sided in the sense that he can strike the ground and create a spring or a well, life-giving water. That's the creation aspect, right? But also he can strike the ground and create an earthquake that wipes out an entire continent.
Right.
So same weapon doing both things. Okay. According to the Vatican mythographer, Neptune, or Poseidon, Neptune is the Roman version, obviously, symbolizes the three properties of water: liquidity, fecundity, and drinkability. Now, if you ask me what that word means, I don't know. The viewers will have to look it up because I forgot to look it up. But it's one of the properties of water.
Apparently so, according to
The Vatican mythographer,
according to the Vatican,
who will remain nameless. Because
perhaps he invented a
didn't
word
include
and
his
wanted
name.
to feel smart.
Exactly. We're going to go with that because I don't want to feel stupid. According to a Roman scholar, Maurus Servius Honoratus, the trident of Neptune was viewed as as three-pronged because the sea is the third part of the world, or because there are three kinds of water: seas, streams, and rivers.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
That checks out.
Another unusual ability that the trident had was to create horses.
Yeah.
Not other
Yeah,
animals, specifically horses.
Good for he had an interest. That's great. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, so apparently he created the first horse by striking a little ball of sea foam with his trident, and it created the first horse.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how horses came to be.
Good for him.
Yep.
I guess.
So yeah, that's the trident. It's a very, very cool weapon, and I want one.
I would like his version of the trident, that's for sure. Now, a normal fishing trident, I'm not sold.
You're
Not
telling
sold
me
on
you
its-
wouldn't want a full gold and brass fishing trident just to have in your room?
Okay, now this may seem blasphemous to a Poseidon man like yourself, but I am more a fan of the bident.
What?
The bident, the two-pronged fork hook thing.
I'm trying to even imagine what that looks like.
Well, so imagine a trident,
Is
but
it like
without
a
the
V?
middle.
So it's
It's
literally
like
shaped like a trident, but without the middle prong.
it's more like a U, right? It's less a V, more of a U, because it's got the curve.
That just sounds like a gardening tool or something.
No, it's a fishing tool, actually.
What?
Yeah, it's a fishing tool. It's a real fishing tool.
Can
A
you send
bident
me a
is fishing
picture of
tool.
this, please?
Okay, hang on. Allow me to capture the visage of a bident.
I literally can't even. I'm really struggling in my mind to figure out what the heck you're talking about.
Okay, here we go. You're getting an Etsy Bident.
That's
Getting a
fine.
Bident off Etsy.
I don't care where it comes from. Oh, okay,
There it
that's
is.
pretty. That's kind of cool, but like,
Yeah.
not nearly as cool as if it had the third prong.
Well, okay, so I look up Biden, right, and I assume, oh, okay, this is a very well-known weapon, and then I see varying versions of a trident because the little one in the middle is little and therefore not as large. They're discounting the size, so it calls it a Bident, I guess.
I don't know, man. You're right. That is blasphemous. You don't deserve happiness or something. I don't know. Anyways, moving on.
I will
All
not
right,
apologize for art.
you should apologize. So Poseidon was actually a good boy. He only had one actual wife. Okay.
Well,
Now
I'll be.
yeah, I know, but it gets worse. So just hold on.
Okay.
So he obviously had one wife. The name of this wife was Amphitrite. She was a sea nymph. And she was his primary and main wife for their entire time that they both existed, I guess.
Good for him. Sticking to his
However,
not as good anymore.
like all the other gods, he really struggled with the facet of keeping it in his pants. So just because he only had one wife does not mean that he didn't play hide the eel with some other gentlemen and ladies of the Greek era.
I need you not to skewer me for this, but just bear with me on this. How could you give me the bait and switch?
What?
Get it? Because bait and fish and Poseidon.
My mother taught me that if I have nothing nice to say, not to say anything at all.
My mother told me to keep talking in times of strife. Perhaps I was steered wrong. Anyways.
Your mom is a great woman, but maybe not her best moment. Okay.
Anyways.
Okay. So, despite the fact that he only had one actual wife, he did have several other sexual encounters. I listed the two other most notable ones just because there's like a lot, but the two most notable is he had a brief sexual encounter with his sister, Demeter, the one that we had talked about that his name may be related to. So,
yeah.
There was that. And then obviously Medusa, the one from the myth in the beginning.
Right.
So those are like the three top ones, the three most notable. Okay. He had a couple male suitors as well. But mainly those are the three.
I would say thinking out of the box on that one, but I'm pretty sure Zeus had a couple. I think we didn't really talk about
Zeus
it.
had a lot more, but
yeah.
Yes. Well,
More
maybe
than a couple.
they both had the same amount, but Zeus had a lot more named ones, I guess.
Right, yeah, because I don't assume Poseidon's focus is about his concubines.
No, it was not really. So Zeus, you remember how many kids Zeus had that were gods?
That were gods. I think the number was like named gods or just like
Gods in general.
gods in general. Okay, like 40 something.
Well, Poseidon only has 6, and you were right on the money. Actually, you were at 41 was Zeus.
Hey,
So-
I remembered something.
Yes, good job. Poseidon this time only had 6. So he had Aeolus, if you remember, the god of the wind.
Right.
Asopus, the god of very specific here. He was the god of the river Asopos in Argus. Not the god of rivers, just the god of this river.
So Poseidon just didn't want to watch over that one river anymore.
Yeah.
Like, here, son, take this.
Yeah, exactly. His kind of like his special son who needed something to do.
Family favorite, but not on the outside. Anyway.
Exactly. He had so in this version he had Athena, in some versions of this myth, Athena is the straight up daughter of Poseidon and Tritonus, but that's like a more small, less widely known version than when she sprang from Zeus's forehead as a thought.
I was gonna say I have no idea who Triton is. I've never heard that
I don't know either.
semblance of letters either.
Didn't know either. So that's one way that she came to be. Then we have Despacito. I mean, Desponia, goddess of.
And you claim you're lucky you're the narrator here.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
You're lucky.
Sorry, I just had like I had like a twitch or something. I had like a tick. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry.
You're lucky you're in the seat of power here, young man.
I have no idea what you're talking about, and I will cling to that claim until the day is done.
Okay. Oh God, I didn't even catch the real name. I'm stuck on Despacito. Great.
Desponia or Despoina.
We'll go with Desponia.
Mm-hmm. Goddess of the Arcadian mysteries. Proteus.
How you're still breathing? Okay.
Which was an elderly sea god. It specifically says elderly, so I wonder if that meant that when he was born, he was already elderly, or if he only became a god after he was elderly. But he's one of the, Poseidon's children, so.
Okay. Case of Benjamin Button, that's okay.
Yeah, so he's the elderly sea god and Poseidon's personal seal herder. A very important job. They don't just give this to anybody.
I guess someone had to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. The seals cannot just be allowed to roam free.
Gotta keep them on the shores before they invade. I seen them making weapons, man. I seen it.
Back in your cage. Back in your cage.
Hey, put the trident down.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with these Greeks, man. They got some weird like titles. Remember the cow herder from Epic? Or no, sorry, from the Odyssey?
Of course I remember the true hero of the Odyssey.
The legendary hero. We got the cow herder, we got the seal herder. Maybe, we'll find some more herders down the road, and then we'll have another batch of Olympian gods.
Yes, we need a sheep herder, and we'll have the roundabout of.
I think we'll find more than that. We'll probably find like a bird herder or something also down the road.
No. Yeah, fine. We'll find a bug herder. It'll be there somewhere in the background.
Yes.
All right.
Moving on to Triton, and finally the last one, which is a fish-tailed sea god.
Okay.
Now that is the last of Poseidon's immortal children. Well, that's actually not true because all the giants are also immortal. Like most of the monsters are immortal. But
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But this is the end of his divine children. Okay.
Gotcha.
So now we're moving on to monsters. Now this is different because Zeus, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, I don't know, but Poseidon has a lot of monster children. So this was kind of interesting. So he has lots of nymphs as children. I didn't get an exact count. Mm-hmm. But just to name a few, I didn't recognize any of them, but just to name them, we got Aethusa, Hierophile, and Uria.
Okay.
For giants, these I selected specifically. There were more, but I specifically selected the ones that we would recognize. We have Charybdis, which I thought. Remember, I told you last time when we were talking about the Odyssey that depending on which myth you were reading, it was a sentient whirlpool or some monster at the bottom of the sea that would create the whirlpools.
Yeah.
So, in this version I found when I was reading about Poseidon's children, they say that it's an immortal giantess who is chained at the bottom of the sea between two giant sea mountains, essentially, and every time she breathes in, she creates whirlpools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that version.
I have not either. So I thought that was pretty cool. Then we have Lystragon, which is the original of the Lystragonians.
Yes.
And, of course, OG himself, Polyphemus.
All hail.
All hail.
All
And
hail
then
the-
lastly, we have Pegasus, which is the immortal horse with wings.
Okay, great. Like I said, all hail Polyphemus, the lost baseball talent.
I was wondering if you were going to remember that. That was the first thing that came to mind when I read the name again. I don't know why. Like the one thing that stuck with me.
We're gonna get him out of the caves anyway. Let's move forward.
So that's it for monsters. Well, at least notable ones. Obviously, there's a lot more, but those are the notable monsters. Then we have mortals. Now, I recognized exactly one mortal from the list.
Okay.
However, I would like you to take a guess at how many in total there were.
I mean, okay, so we've sort of established that Poseidon isn't necessarily as bad as Zeus, but that's a low bar. So I'm gonna
Do you
say,
Wait,
huh?
hold on. Before we continue, do you remember how many Zeus had?
Mortal children or kids in general?
Mortal children.
Uh,
Come on, you nailed the
mm,
first one. You got this.
50, 20 or 50, one of those two numbers. Not between, just
52?
one of the two. Aha! Yeah, I'm getting closer.
Yeah. When you started going towards 20, I was like, you have the right one. Just stick there, man. Stick there.
You can't blame me. I get a little nervous.
Yeah, so he had 52 mortal children. Now, knowing that, obviously Zeus can't keep it in his pants, man. How many do you think Poseidon has?
Okay, so 52. Let's subtract that by the number of tries on a dent. I'm gonna say 49.
101.
God damn it.
Now, to be fair, if you count the amount of immortal children that Zeus has with the amount of mortal children he has, you still don't even get close to how many kids Poseidon has.
What?
Because, yes, if you were to add the two, you'd have 93 children for Zeus. And granted, obviously, that's like the notable ones. So obviously, there's probably thousands. But we're talking the notable ones. But Poseidon has 101 mortal children. He has 6 godly children at least, not including the spirits that I didn't include, that were multiples of them. And then the probably hundreds, let alone the list of at least 10 to 15 monsters I didn't include. Poseidon bangs.
Poseidon is busy under the sea.
Literally.
Is that why there's so many
the
waves?
Motion of the ocean.
He causes the motion of the ocean.
Poseidon brings, it's not the size of the boat, it's the motion of the ocean. But Poseidon has both. You know what I mean? He's got the size of the boat and the motion.
He is the I'm not sure. Forgive me for saying this. I'm not sure it's the trident that controls the waves. I shall say a prayer for myself tonight. Over a cup of water.
Or, better yet, what if the trident never existed in the first place? What if the Greeks just misinterpreted what they were seeing? Just a thought.
Are you calling Poseidon an echidna?
I'm turning left. Y'all better duck.
Okay, so there's two versions of this. He's either an echidna,
Okay.
or he's just so fast, and all they were seeing was after images.
That's why there's the 3 points.
Yes.
Just poke, poke, poke. Poke, poke, poke.
Poke, 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 you're pregnant.
He's got it on, what do you call that thing? Like, In like Call of Duty games, what do you like burst fire? He's got a burst fire.
He's semi-automatic.
He fires in bursts of 3. Uh, yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Yeah. So yeah, he's got like 150 kids or something. It's ridiculous. But
never mind.
I didn't recognize any of them except for Theseus. Now, do you know who Theseus is?
The name rings at least 2 bells.
He is a Greek hero who is famous for slaying the Minotaur in the labyrinth.
Oh, okay. Okay, is that who slew the Minotaur? I actually did not know.
Yes, he is a demigod and child of Poseidon.
Gotcha. All right.
We also have Atlas, who is the king of the 10 kingdoms of Atlantis, the mythical continent.
Okay, kind of a clarifying question, I guess.
Yeah.
So, like, I know Atlas, the name, for the guy who holds up the world on his shoulders, and that's it.
Yes. The god.
Yes, the god, not the guy.
Yes, this is not that god.
Okay. Okay. Good. I see. I needed that clarified because that's
Did
that's
you
literally the
also
only
know-
Atlas I knew.
So, like, if I tell you a map, right? Like, if I tell you map, what kind of mode of transportation do you think?
Like on a map?
No, just like think of a map and
Uh-huh.
what mode of transportation comes to mind most readily. Like, think of a map and then think of a mode of transportation. What comes to mind?
A boat.
Me too. Atlas is also the thing where we keep all of the world's maps. That's called an atlas.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, yes, that is also fair and true.
That's what I thought of. Is that what you thought of?
It is not even remotely. I forgot
Okay.
that atlases existed, to be real.
Okay. Anyways, we also have Delphus, Anthus, Aloeus, and Eumen, which is a sub-king of Atlantis. Like one of the kings of these specific 10 kingdoms.
Gotcha.
Now, that is all of the children that I chose to name for Poseidon. Remember, there's a lot.
Mhm.
So if you guys want to know more about them, go look it up yourself.
For now.
Ain't
until we
nobody
get
got
episodes-
time for that.
Until we get our other episodes out, which, I mean,
I
it's
will
gonna
not. There is no universe in where we have enough episodes to go over all of these kids.
I don't know.
There's not one. No, dude, we could do this for the next 40 years and we wouldn't even scratch the surface. If we did 3 years, it would take 3 years just to go over at one episode a week the 150 named children of Poseidon. 3 years. One episode a week.
Mortals, comment down below if you actually want everyone covered. Thank you.
This is about to become a one-person podcast really quickly. So,
See y'all in the next
anyways, popular myths. Yay, everyone's favorite part.
Yay.
So, remember we talked about with Zeus, popular myths for Poseidon, there really wasn't a ton.
Mhm.
Remember, it's about the heroes mostly, so like Poseidon himself really didn't appear that much in his own myths, okay? But I did round up a few cool ones that I thought were funny, so we'll talk about them a little bit.
Okay.
So, Poseidon, I don't know if you remember from Epic, he's a little petty, right? A little petty.
Bit.
Just a bit. And he was very, very, he liked to fight with people.
Okay.
Now, one of the people he liked to fight with the most, apparently, was his daughter / niece, Athena. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, Poseidon once competed with Athena for patronage of Athens. Okay. Now, how do you think, if you had to guess how two gods would compete for worship from one of the greatest cities of Greece, how would you guess they would do it?
Okay. Now this, I think, you know what? I'm gonna lay it out all on the table. I'm pretty sure I know this myth. I think.
Okay.
Maybe. So
tell
I'm
me.
gonna say, they competed in I think it was gifts, right? They were gifting Athens things,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously it's called Athens, so Athena won. But
What? No way.
it's not called Poseidon's for a reason, kids.
Okay, continue. So what were the gifts, Mr. Smart Guy?
Okay. Oh God, what did Poseidon give? Was it just a bunch of horses?
Nope.
Okay.
It was
All
a
right.
saltwater spring.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah.
You remember what Athena gave them?
Um. Okay, not specifically, but I remember it had something to do with olives, so I'm pretty sure it was a lifetime supply of olives.
You're not technically wrong. It was an olive tree.
Ah.
Yep. And Athens thought that was pretty cool, and so they were like, "We're going with Athena." And Poseidon, being the level-headed, cool, calm gentleman that he is,
Right, of course.
accepted the defeat the way that I think any man would. He cursed the city with a drought.
Okay.
Killed millions. It reminds me of like this post I was telling my wife about the other day. I thought it was hilarious. And this guy was like, listen, guys, if you're going to date attractive women, you need to recognize that other men are going to look. So I was at the mall with my girlfriend today, and some other guy came up and started hitting on my girlfriend. So obviously, calmly, I handled it the way any of you would. And in the bottom, and just like the little title, it says, I shot him. That's basically Poseidon in this situation.
I could see Poseidon saying that.
I shot him 37 times in the chest.
So listen, all right. I know we were in this friendly competition for this little Greek city-state, and like we had some vows and whatnot. But I mean, I handled this loss in the way that all the Greek gods would have handled it. At the bottom of the scroll, it just says, "I drowted them."
No
I
water
killed
for you.
millions.
Yep. So, moving on to more of Poseidon's great adventures in the undersea.
Let's see.
Poseidon actually sided with the Greeks in the Trojan War. And do you know why? Just see if you know any more of these cool little things, you smarty pants.
Listen, all right. My knowledge expands and contracts. Right now, it's contracting. I don't know.
Okay, cool. So basically, it's a two-part myth. Okay, so there's two versions of this myth. In the first version, some of the gods did not like the way that Zeus was ruling, and so basically they went up to Poseidon and they're like, "Hey, like, you're also one of the big three. Why don't you do it?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, no, you should do it. I think you'd be a better king. And they do this for like several millennia. And eventually Poseidon's like, all right, fine, whatever. And he like thinks about it and like tries, but he doesn't try that hard. And so Zeus like basically just beats them all and is like, yeah, whatever. So he just kind of hecks off back to the ocean.
He picks a seal up and throws it at Zeus like, there, you got it.
And he's like, yeah, you guys got the rest. I did my part. But in another version of the myth, Poseidon was one of the main conspirators. Okay. He, Athena, and Hera specifically attacked Zeus to overthrow him, and they managed to get him bound in chains. Okay.
Oh.
But they began to argue amongst themselves about who would be the ruler in his place. And while they were distracted, Thetis, the sea nymph, employed Briareus, a hundred-handed one, to help her free Zeus. And when Zeus was unchained, it simply says, the other gods were punished. And
I mean,
one of the
it's
ways
Zeus.
that... Huh?
I said, I mean, it's Zeus. I could only imagine.
Uh-huh. One of the ways that he punished Poseidon is he stripped Poseidon and Apollo of their immortality and
Oh.
forced them to build the mighty walls of Troy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Now, I don't know if you know anything about ancient Greek cities and how they treat their slaves, but when Poseidon got his godhood back, he was not very happy. So that is why he sided with the Greeks in the Trojan War, and he summoned a mythical sea creature the size of several buildings to attack their walls. So he was not very pleased.
It just, I like to imagine, because obviously, like, they're Greek gods are petty down to the name, right? They
Oh,
know
yeah.
people's
Oh,
names. So, like, I just like to imagine there's one guy on the wall when Poseidon summons the creature, and he looks down at him like, hey, you remember that one time?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that
That
one
was
time? Have this.
that was the king. That was he was specifically did it to get at the king of Troy. So, yeah. In another myth, Poseidon wanted to basically talk to his sister Demeter, but Demeter was like, "Ew, gross, human," or like not human, god, but you know what I mean. Wasn't interested. So obviously Poseidon did what he had to and turned into a horse.
Oh.
Now, the nice way to say this is that this seduced her. But the more real way is that she didn't really have a choice.
I shouldn't be laughing. I mean, it's not funny. It's just, it's,
Yeah. There's actually a whole section in slight trigger warning here. There's a whole section on the page that I was reading about assault victims.
Victims?
Basically, every time that Poseidon forced himself on another individual.
Oh.
There,
You know,
yeah, we're gonna move on from there. There's some other things, but
yeah, we're moving on subject matter wise. Just, in general, I would like to state, perhaps, being a Zeus apologist is not the worst thing on the planet anymore. Now, being a Poseidon apologist, I'm going to have a conversation.
I'm not saying this to make light of it. I'm simply telling you that you're wrong, because there is a story in which Zeus turns into an eagle, because that's his thing, to chase a goddess. I don't remember her name, because he wanted to talk to her. This goddess, for fear of being spoken to, flew away. When she got across the ocean, thinking she was safe, she was very quickly reminded she was not, as Poseidon picked up the chase where his brother left off.
Oh, God.
And eventually caught her and spoke to her. Remember,
Okay.
sign of the times.
Yeah.
Sign of the times.
Sign of the gods, right? Of course. Yeah.
Yes. So we're gonna move on to something more happy. Okay.
Anyways, yeah.
All right. And the last one I have was talking about how when Medusa was slain by the Greek hero Perseus, it turned out that she was actually pregnant with two of Poseidon's children.
Oh.
Okay. They were magical beings. One was a man named Chrysaor, who was named after his golden sword, and Pegasus, the first horse with wings. That's where Pegasus came from. His children.
Sorry, I'm a fan of Cryosaur. It's a.
I think I might be. No, I think that's a Chrysaor. It's Chrysaor.
Sao cry. Ooh,
Chrysaor. Let's see that. I'm just gonna say Cryosaur because I think it's cool.
We'll call him Chris.
Yeah. But yeah. Poseidon had a particular affinity for horses, obviously. So he got the inspiration from when he created the first horse out of sea foam to impress a lover. That's where the first horse ever came from.
Okay.
He was like, "Hey, you want to see something cool? Boom, horse." And she's like, "What's a horse?" And he's like, "This."
This just made it up.
Pretty cool, huh? 4 feet. Can you believe that? You see the snout on that thing?
Hey, look at this thing's teeth. It smiles. Watch, these
Yeah.
things are going to be huge in in racing next year. What's racing? I don't know.
Wave of the future. But yeah, that's everything I got. That's Poseidon in a nutshell.
Poseidon's got to stay in a shell, away from like everything and everyone, really.
More like a prison, if we're being honest.
Hey, is Tartarus open? Like,
Uh,
on
you know,
Tartarus open on weekends? I got a visitor.
I think so.
How do
I
make
think
a
I think it's
concerned
exactly where he deserves to be.
How do I make a concerned call to hate?
Listen, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Just gonna say it. I'm still a Poseidon apologist because I love the ocean and I love his weapon and he's really cool. But like,
Okay,
dang,
all right.
man. But
All right,
dang.
let's not use the word apologist here. We're not apologizing for it. We're just separate the art from the artist. I don't know. There's no good way to go around it.
I don't think there is. I think this is just one of those things where I'm gonna have to take the L. I don't condone any of the bad stuff he did, but he's so cool.
Okay. All right. So here's how you atone for this. You go to
Okay.
the ocean, you stand in front of it, and then you flip it off for a good hour once a day.
Ow!
Yep, it's got to be an hour.
Can I ask you a serious question first?
You may.
What ocean?
You
I'm
better
in a
find your way to
landlocked
it.
state.
You better find your way to it.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, I guess Cliff Notes, Poseidon, much more dastardly than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You know what I really have a feeling?
huh.
Just from the little bit that I know about him already, I just have this sneaking suspicion that Hades, the god of the underworld, is going to be the least notorious of all three. Like, the least dastardly, the most humane. Like, granted, he's not going to be great, because I already know something that doesn't make him great. But, like, compared to the other two.
I'll be honest, I get that feeling too. Like, I knew Poseidon was like slightly, okay, well, I thought, excuse me, he was just slightly promiscuous. He slept around like Zeus. Um, but I didn't know the extent. Whereas I've heard like literally nothing about Hades, even though he's honestly of the three, he's my favorite.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, he's edgy. What do you want from me? Um,
Fair enough.
Helm of Darkness, Charlie. Helm of Darkness.
Yeah.
It's peak. It's peak. Yeah, but I have heard the only thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've heard like the same thing that you have. But we'll save that for a later time. But that's the only thing that I've heard regarding women that makes him bad. Right?
Yeah, and he's well. We'll talk about him later.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I still think Poseidon's really cool, and his title, man, I'm gonna get that tattooed across my chest. Ugh.
Hey, man, it's a cool title for a god.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in again. Sorry again about the week long break. You can mostly blame me for that. I was moving, but we're back into it. Got my setup up again, so we shouldn't have any more issues.
Yeah, and towards the weekend, we would have been able to record. Unfortunately, I had to go for some emergency dental work. I had to have two of my teeth extracted, and that obviously can't really talk with gauze and blood. But
I want you all
we
to know that I told him he was being oversensitive, but apparently he had medical instructions.
I have a doctor's note.
Yeah, he called out of work.
I called out of work.
Yeah, he called his boss, me, and was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to come into work today, boss. I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
I was like, "Come on, man."
And then, of course, being the good patriot or worshiper he is, he went to an altar in Greece himself and was like, Zeus, Zeus, he's doing it again.
Yeah, so yeah, we're back, and yeah, thank you guys so much for the support on the last one. If you guys haven't yet, subscribe, like this one; it helps us a ton. Go check us out on TikTok. We also have a Twitter now, and we have a, what was the other thing? The Red Sky or whatever it is? Blue Sky?
Blue Sky, yes.
Blue Sky.
We created a
Cool.
Blue Sky account in case you don't use Twitter.
Yeah.
I understand, but we have both. So, yeah, you can find us on TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, and Twitter, I believe. I believe that's all of our socials at the moment. We may be making more in the future, but there's not quite a promise there, but we'll see.
And be ready for another little animation that Alec has been doing later this week. Hopefully, no determined date yet, but those are always super fun. So get ready for that. That usually comes out on TikTok and then usually as a YouTube. So
Yep, that's right. I mean, there's a couple things that I could. Anyway, yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We will see y'all next week.
peace.
Goodbye.